Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we are going to explain a new lesson which is about interdependence between plants and animals. We're going to see what do we mean by interdependence. First, I want you to open your book, page 36, and your workbook, page 37, to follow with us on the documents and the questions. We're going to read the problem situation in the workbook. We see here, how do certain animals participate in the reproduction of flowering plants? We have here a photo or an image of a bee between two flowers, and there is a pollen ball on its legs. We can notice that the bee is carrying the pollen from one flower to another. Here the bee is contributing or helping in pollination. That is a very important step in the sexual reproduction of plants. Let's start with document 1. In document 1, which is titled Ladybird and Plants, we see here an image of a flower having a small insect called aphid on it. And then we see that this flower also has on it a ladybird larva or an adult ladybird. The larva is the baby, if you want to say, the baby of the adult ladybird. Okay? They said here, aphids suck the plant's sap and make them sick. So these aphids suck or absorb the plant sap, the liquid that contains the nutrients of the plant, and they make them sick. The adult ladybirds, on the other hand, as well as their larvae, feed on aphids. So these adult ladybirds or their babies, their larvae, they feed on aphid. They eat the aphid. They rid the plant of the insect pests and help it recover. They rid the plant, they take rid of aphids and help the plant recover, get well from the sickness. This is document 1. Let's see now document 2. In document 2 here we have the tit and the plants. We have here a photograph or an image of a plant, and on it there are butterfly eggs and then a caterpillar. We notice that the caterpillar is eating the leaves of the plant, while on the other hand we have a tit, which is a type of bird, eating this caterpillar. Notice the leaves of the plant, how are they wilted and sick. Caterpillars eat green leaves and destroy crops. These caterpillars will eat the leaves, and the plants are no longer good for cultivating. These caterpillars are the favorite food of tits. Tits like to eat caterpillar. So as we said before, therefore the plant gets rid of caterpillars and the crop is saved. So the tit here eats the caterpillar and saves the plant. Now let's answer the questions found in the workbook, page 37. Number 1, part A. Why are aphids and caterpillars considered to be insect pests? We're going to explain what's the meaning of pest. A pest, teacher, is the organism that harms another organism, that hurts it, that's not good for it. Okay? So why do we consider aphids and caterpillars insect pests? As we saw in the two documents, we noticed that the caterpillar and the aphid hurt the plants. They make them sick. They destroy the crops. So we can say that they are pests. Okay? So let's see here. The aphids are considered to be insect pests since they suck the sap of plants and make them sick, and the caterpillars eat green leaves and destroy crops, which also makes them insect pests. Okay, now part B. What is the advantage of protecting animals like the ladybird and the tit? The advantage means the benefit, the good thing about it. And what is good about protecting the ladybird and the tit? Why should we protect them? What is good about this? We notice here also in the two documents, the ladybird is eating the aphid and ridding the plant of the aphid, and here The tit is eating the caterpillar and ridding the plant of it. So we can say that protecting the ladybird will help protect flowers from the aphids, and protecting the tits will help protect the plants from the caterpillar. Okay? Now, let's go on to page 37 in the book, and we'll stay in page 37 in the workbook. Here also we have two documents we're going to see, and we are going to answer the questions in the workbook. Document 1, we see here a title, Pollen Dissemination. Dissemination means distribution. Pollen dissemination means pollen distribution. We have here this figure that shows a flower and a bee standing on it, and another figure where a flower and a butterfly standing on it. Let's see what are they doing. The pollen collector bees move from one flower to another to gather nectar and pollen. You know that the bees gather nectar from the flower to make them honey. Butterflies, on the other hand, suck out the nectar of flowers. They feed on the nectar, they eat the nectar. The pollen grains can cling to their legs. The pollen grains sticks to their legs. Okay? While flying from one flower to another, bees and butterflies carry pollen grain. They carry pollen grain. That is how they contribute to flowers' pollination. So as we said in the situation, the bee and the butterfly, by this way, without knowing, of course, they are helping in pollination, because they are carrying the pollen grain from one flower to another. When they go stop or settle on another flower, the pollen grain on their legs will fall down to the other flower, and this will help in pollination. Let's look at the second document. Seed dissemination this time. Seed distribution, because we said that dissemination means distribution. We see here a bird, and apparently it's carrying something in its beak with seeds falling off, and another figure of a sheep with seeds clinged on their wool. Many animals eat fruits while flying. Of course, they're talking about the bird. They drop the seeds of these fruits far from their production territory where they can germinate. So let's imagine a bird standing on a tree eating of its fruit. It flies away from the tree to another place, then it drops these seeds in another place. Sometimes it's a very far place. Okay, this will help that the seeds will germinate in another place, and they will give us a new plant. Some seeds have got hooks, so we see seeds that have hooks. Okay, they cling to the hair, they stick to the hair of animals such as sheep, dogs, and fall out in another place. So these seeds, they cling to the hair or wool of animals. Of course, without the animal knowing, it will carry the seed on its body and move on to another place, and then the seed will fall down in other places and give new plants. Let's answer the question now. Some animals contribute to the pollination of flowers. Which ones and how? We see that bees and butterflies fly from one flower to another, carrying pollen grains. By this, they help in pollination, as we said. Now, part B. Certain animals help in the dissemination of seeds. Which ones and how? As we also saw in the document, some animals drop the seeds of fruit while moving far from their places. Other animals can carry seeds on their hair, then the seeds fall off in other places. Then the seeds will give new plants. This way, animals help in seed dissemination. I'm going to show you now a video that explains more about seed dissemination.
Tree seeds, such as acorns and horse chestnuts, fall to the ground and might be carried away by animals or birds. Like this jay, which is burying acorns in preparation for winter. but birds might forget where they buried some of them, leaving them to germinate and grow into new trees. It's not the only way animals and birds help plants to disperse seeds. Inside the berries are the seeds. Birds like to eat them. The seed goes right through them and comes out onto the ground in the bird's droppings. A burdock burr. It holds the seeds of the burdock plant and is covered in hundreds of tiny hooks. Plants like the burdock often grow where animals live, and the burrs help to spread the seeds. They stick to the sheep's fur. They have lots of seeds inside. By the time they fall off the sheep, they may have been carried to a different place. Some plants that grow near riverbanks use water to disperse their seeds.
Okay, so here we saw how animals also help in the seed dissemination without even knowing it.